Radha Kunja Bihari थोड़ा सा क्यों तो सेंटर में आएगा फेस
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 15, text number 26. Tasmat swastena manasa vimrasya gatimatmanaha dvaite dhruvarta vishrambham yajotsapam avisham. Translation. Therefore, O King Chitraketu, carefully consider the position of the Atma. In other words, try to understand who you are, whether body, mind or soul. Consider where you have come from, where you are going after giving up this body, and why you are under the control of material limitation. Try to understand your real position in this way, and then you will be able to give up your unnecessary attachment. You will also be able to give up the belief that this material world or anything not directly in touch with service to Krishna is eternal. Thus, you will obtain peace. Followed by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
The Krishna consciousness movement is factually endeavoring to bring human society to a sober condition. Because of a misdirected civilization, people are jumping in materialistic life like cats and dogs, performing all sorts of abominable, sinful actions and becoming increasingly entangled. The Krishna consciousness movement includes self-realization because one is first directed by Lord Krishna to understand that one is not the body, but the owner of the body. When one understands this simple fact, he can direct himself toward the goal of life. Because people are not educated in terms of the goal of life, they are working like madmen and becoming more and more attached to the material atmosphere. The misguided man accepts the material condition as everlasting. One must give up his faith in material things and give up attachment for them. Then one will be sober and peaceful. Sorry, I'll read the sentence again. One must give up this faith in material things and give up attachment for them. Then one will be sober and peaceful. Canto 6, Chapter 15, text number 26. Canto 6, Chapter 15, text 26. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Ganjanashalakaya Chikshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome everyone to the Sunday feast. Before I start, I seek blessings of all the Vaishnavas who are here. Please, I'm not a very knowledgeable speaker compared to everybody else, but for my own purification, once in a while I come and sit here so that I get purification for myself. And because these are the words of Srimad Bhagavatam, while sharing these words, I get purified. While listening to those words, everybody else who is listening also gets purified because Srimad Bhagavatam is Amala Purana. So we are reading here. This 26th verse is, the chapter is actually entitled Narada Muni and Angira instructing King Chitraketu. So we need to understand why they are instructing first. Then we will come to the content of this shloka. So the story of Maharaj Chitraketu is very, very instructive because it not only gives us our great philosophical insight into the philosophy, but also it teaches us the nature of Krishna's mercy and the mercy of the Vaishnavas in our lives. So through this story we can understand both Krishna's mercy and the mercy of Vaishnavas. So actually this one is actually the story going forward. Chitraketu will be cursed as demon. That will do it in part 2 of this class next time. So there Maharaj Parikshit asks Shukadev Goswami that he comes as Vratrasura, the demon. He said, how come this demon is offering so beautiful prayers? So, because I thought of going to Vratrasura prayers, but then I thought I will not be able to cover this and why he became a demon both in one class. So we'll cover why he became a demon in the next class. So for now we'll focus on, so now Sukadeva Goswami is telling Maharaj Parikshit who Vratrasura was in his previous life. So Vratrasura as a demon, in his previous life he was a king. Very wonderful king. His name is Maharaj Chitraketu. So Chitraketu, he's king of the world. He's coming in the line of King Surasena. He's king of the world. He has everything. Every single thing that any one of us can desire for in this world. Opulence, money, wealth, name, fame. And he is the king. He can do anything that he wants. He can order anything that he wants. He can just change the rules. He can change the laws in the kingdom. He can do anything. But see, the nature of the material world that we are living in today is we cannot have everything that we want. Right? Even though Chitraketu Maharaj was such a king, but he is not happy. Right? He is not happy. So then Angira Muni comes to his place one day, and then he receives him very nicely with all the proper etiquettes, proper worship. And then Angira Muni could see Chitraketu very morose. He's pale. So first he inquires about the kingdom, and then Chitraketu says, yes, everything goes very well. The praja in the Rajya is very good, they are happy, everything is fine. Then Angira Muni says, then why your face is so pale? Why are you so unhappy? What is happening? And then Chitraketu Maharaj puts his head down. And he says, I am coming in the line of King Surasena. And one after another, after that, many of them are kings. So now I do not have a son. So who will be the king after me? So I am not doing my duty to my ancestors as a king. After me, our dynasty is going to end. There is nobody else to represent my dynasty. So I don't have a son. And Angira Muni tried to say something to pacify him. But it is like, when we are hungry, say we are really starving, say if I do this class until 2 o'clock, and everybody is starving, and then the temple committee decides, oh, everybody is starving, let's distribute some garlands and sandalwood pulp. What do? Are you happy? Everybody comes and put one garland in your neck and then put some sandalwood pulp on your, so that you cool down on your heat. So are you happy? You're not happy because hunger is not satisfied with that garland and sandalwood pulp. So whatever Angira Muni is trying to say, Chitraketu Maharaj could not digest it. Chitraketu Maharaj could not take it. Because he is hungry for something else. He wants a son. So Angira Muni says, okay, I will help you. And then he calls the sages and he asks them to do a sacrifice. And they do this yajna. And after the yajna is done, whatever Mahaprasad comes out of that sacrifice, he gives that Mahaprasad to Chitraketu and he says, you give it to your favorite wife. Because you need to understand what happened was Maharaj Chitraketu, he got married. Okay, first wife. And then even though he has the capacity to produce children, but his wife was a barren woman. She don't have the capacity to give children. So he is disappointed. So he gets again, because those just Kshatriyas are allowed to get married more than once, because they have capacity to satisfy them on all levels. So he gets married again, second wife, same situation. Third, same situation. Fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Enormous number of wives he gets. But nobody could give the child. That's when he approaches Angira Muni. And Angira Muni does that sacrifice and he says, so many number of wives, so you give to one wife that you want to give. So and then he says, when this child borns, name him Harsha Soka. What is Harsha means? Happiness. Soka means distress. Right? He says, name him Harsha Soka. But Chitraketu Maharaj was so jubilant, so happy. He's like, oh, every child will give happiness and distress, right? Not everybody, every child will not give all the time happiness. Every child will not give all the time distress. Shivam is looking at his father. Am I doing that? Not to that level, Shivam, but when you are naughty, mommy daddy gets upset sometimes, right? That's what I'm saying. Okay? Simple things. So Angir Muni says Harsha Soka, then he's like, okay, everybody, it's normal. So he's like, okay, no worries, we'll give that name. And then he takes that sweet rice water prasad came from the yagna and he gives it to his wife, Kritadyiti. His wife, one of his favorite wives, Kritadyiti. And then she takes it and then she becomes pregnant. Right? But during the pregnancy, what kind of festival? Every single day there is a festival in the kingdom. They are all so happy and so blissful. Every day they are doing some function. Every day they are doing something. Every day doing some sacrifice. And then the baby is growing like nice. And the doctors are saying the white fruit and the Raja Vaidya they say, right? So they are saying, yeah, growth is wonderful. Everything is so nice. So they are so jubilant. But see, we need to understand in this material world, the lamentation also comes in proportion with the happiness. Right? It's like a coin. One side is the, what do you call, I don't know, in the tail and head and tail, right? So pain is always followed by a pleasure. Pleasure is always followed by a pain. It's like a chain, There is never any cut in between. But sometimes there is some little between the pain and the pleasure. Before the pleasure starts, after the pain you get so much relief. And immediately you are so happy. Before we think we are so happy, the pain starts. Right? So the lamentation comes in proportion with the joy. Oh, it's so nice, I got somewhere, I got an educational seat somewhere in one of our state. And then they will say, you have to pay 20,000 rupees, then it's $20,000 is like a lamentation. I got some job and then they will say, you need to, sorry, you cannot file your green card. Then why I'm leaving the company? I need the green card. Something like that. It's small things, but the lamentation is there, followed by happiness. So it's like, like if you really like someone, if you really love someone, then if they give the pain to us, that pain is more than somebody else, some other third person giving us, like somebody who don't care. Right? Like in the news, like every single day in the news, we say during COVID or during anything, we say, these many people died somewhere. What is the extent that we feel sad? We say, oh, so sad, oh, it's really bad, yeah. We speak to each other, oh, it's really bad. In Italy, these many people died, here these many people died. But for the same reason, if one of our family members dies, that pain in the heart is so much. When we love someone, when we trust someone, when they cheat us, when they betray us, or when they, don't treat us properly, that pain is totally different than a person who come to temple, we don't even know if they treat him or they treat me or they respect me, disrespect me, and it really doesn't bother, right? So that's how it's like, it depends on the relationship that we share also. But material world is both lamentation and happiness. Both follow each other. That we have to remember that. Because human relationships are very intricate. We need to understand they're very intricate, human relationships. It's not easy. They're very intricate. Because what happened with Maharaj Chitraketu, so he gave the prasad to his wife, one of his favorite wives, she had it, and then she had the son, right? The son born, the day the son was born is like such a huge festival in the kingdom. And he was jubilant and the queen was happy, everybody is happy. But what he was doing during this process, this entire process of his wife's pregnancy, the baby born, during that period of time, what Maharaj Chitraketu did without knowing, without recognizing that he was neglecting the other wives. Because he was completely giving attention to this wife now, because he was hankering for this for such a long time, and then finally he is going to have it. So his entire attention is on this wife. So he was neglecting other wives. So how he was not recognizing it. He is not even understanding that he is neglecting it. And then he was not giving any emotional support, emotional protection to those wives that as a husband he is supposed to give. Like husband's duty is to give the emotional protection to the wife. And then he is not giving that because he's previously he was going to each wife and talking to them and making sure they are happy, they are like this. Now it's like, Krutaditi, how are you feeling? Krutaditi, you want to do this, you want to do this, you want to do that. It's all her. All the nice words are all to her. Now they are feeling neglected. They're not having that emotional protection. They're not feeling that emotional protection. So, but devotee is paradukha dukhi, right? One's happiness is their happiness, one's sadness is devotee's sadness. But did Chitraketu did that? He did not do it. But because of that reason, he's going to face some severe consequences. But we need to understand one thing. When we read this story, the wives of Chitraketu, when he got married, they are not bad people. Right? Chitraketu is a great Vaishnava. He's a wonderful Vaishnava. When he got married, do you think he just got married to somebody who is not a devotee? No, Chitraketu got married to wonderful Vaishnavis. They are all good devotees. But what did Chitraketu do during that period of time? In analogy we say many times in Krishna consciousness, when we say there are two dogs inside of our heart. Right? Good dog and bad dog. Whichever one we feed the most, that will become more stronger and more prominent in our behaviors, in our actions, in our words. Whichever we feed, that becomes more prominent. So what Chitraketu was doing all these months to the other wives, by his negligence, by his carelessness towards them, he was feeding the bad dog in them. Because of this carelessness, because of this negligence, they became so angry. All the wives except Krutagiti, rest of them, they became so angry, they wanted to take a revenge. Revenge means they want to do something to get that anger out. Right? So, then what did they do? They prepared poison and then they gave the poison to the baby. So now, what we need to understand from this is, sometimes we are so many lessons, right? So many lessons like this. Sometimes we are so much focused on our own self-growth, right? I wanted to be like this, I wanted to be like that, I want to develop godly qualities, I want to develop divine qualities. But it's also our responsibility to help others also to develop those qualities. Right? Because every living entity has both divine and demonic qualities. I develop divine qualities, okay, fine, but if I'm neglecting other person, if I'm not helping other people to develop those divine qualities, then what is the point? Right? How I'm helping others? So that's what Chitraketu did. He is happy, he is divine, he is calm, he is quiet. Krutaditi is calm, Krutaditi is quiet. They both are happy. But what about the other people? They are also depending on you for the emotional support. They are also depending on you for your moral support. But he neglected them. Right? So he did not do his duty to help them to develop those divine qualities. So as the wives all together, when they were talking, they were discussing, they were helping each other, feeding what? The bad dog. Yeah, he is like that. He was not like this before. Now he is like this. Oh, he was looking at us so nicely before, but now his look has some meaning. Did you observe it? Yeah, he was looking differently. Yeah, he is talking differently. His tone is differently. All together they kept feeding the bad dog inside. Because of that, the anger. What happens in Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna says? When anger comes, we lose
Intelligence.
over. Intelligence is gone. So because they lost intelligence, what did they do? They gave the poison and they fed the baby. So one day the queen Kritadyuti, she was sitting and then she told her maidservant, oh, go get my baby. It's been so long that he's sleeping. Go wake him up and bring the baby to me. And the maidservant goes and she tries to wake him up. And then the baby doesn't move, doesn't wake up. So initially they thought he was in deep sleep. So he's like, oh, how long you will sleep? Your mommy is calling, get up. But then she touches the baby and then she feels the cold body. And then the maidservant starts screaming. And then the queen comes running. And then queen sees the baby. And then she just could not tolerate it. She could not believe that the baby died. And then she started wailing, crying hard. And then by listening to all this trauma that's going on, the king gets information, and then king comes running. And then when he comes and he sees his wife wailing and crying, and then the body is on the ground, and then the maidservants, all the servants are crying, and he could understand what happened. So see, in this material world, whoever gives most pleasure to us, those are the people who will give more pain to us also. That's the truth. Whoever gives most pleasure, and they are the people who has the capacity to give more pain to us. So now Kritadyuti and Chitraketu, they are so much attached to Harshasoka, so much pleasure. They're like now we have with Chaturvi, Bhargavi's daughter, everybody wants Chaturvi. Why? Because she cannot say anything back first time. Right? Whatever you say, she just listens and she's like, whatever. And then her innocent smile, innocent smile, she's a small baby. So we're all attached, all attention on her. Like more than now, we don't worry about all these other children, all very children, because she's the smallest. Tomorrow some other smallest kid comes, that smallest kid will get the attention. So the pleasure is there now with Chaturvi for us. Now the pleasure is there with somebody, family members. So, but whoever gives the pleasure, they have the capacity to give the pain also. Not about Chaturvi, but in general, the analogy is like the facts, the material facts. So, because see, if I hit somebody, like if I slap somebody, what happens? They feel some pain and it's over. So after some time they forget it and they carry on with it. They may remember that I slapped, but the pain is not there. But when we create pain in the heart, so the pain in the heart is more excruciating than the physical pain that we create to the body. Right? When we hurt somebody through words, harsh words, when we betray people, when we don't give any, support to them emotionally, morally when they are in need, the pain that will be created during that time in the heart is more excruciating than just slapping and hitting and punching and all this. So right now, their pain is, where is their pain? Chitraketu's and Kritadyuti's pain. It's not on the body. There is no scratches, no pains, nothing. But their hearts are deeply hurt because they lost their kid. So then Kritadyuti started screaming to the Supreme Lord. He's saying, what kind of law is this? She's asking the Supreme Lord, I know there is no such law that you have written that the father has to die first. But he is such a small child. We are still trying to bring him up. He is such a small child. We didn't even have the pleasure of seeing him running around nicely and walking and studying and nothing. And you took him away? What kind of justice is that, O Supreme Lord? If you do like this, who will have the children in the world? If you take away children like this. What kind of justice is this? What kind of law is this? And then she faints. And then she gets up. And then she screams to the Supreme Lord, what did you do? And then she tells her child, what are you doing? Wake up. We prepared all kinds of favorite preparations for you. Wake up. All your friends are waiting for you to play. Why are you sleeping so long today? Get up, get up. And she's in tears, crying for her child to get up. And Maharaj Chitraketu, he is in such deep lamentation that he lost his son. Now they are crying in the court. The queen is crying, the king is crying, and eventually the whole kingdom starts crying that they lost their prince. Knowing this, Narada Muni and Angira Maharshi, they come back. And they come back, and then Narada Muni and Angira Muni, they instruct Maharaj Chitraketu about the nature of the soul. So the soul is eternal, body is temporary, all the attachments connected to this body are temporary. They are not going to go with us. They are not going to come with us. See, my father passed away 4 years back. It's like so much attachment as a daughter to my father. And then I came here to United States. And then I couldn't go and see him as much as I could. That pain is there, and when I see him, such pleasure, when I see him, oh, so much pleasure. When I come again, pain, when I go again, pleasure. So, but he has a cardiac arrest, and then no indication, he passed away. Right? And today also, I went in December, after 4 years again, I went back to my village. I just couldn't walk in that village. Wherever I go, because my father born there, brought up there, worked there, retired there, everything in the same. So I born there, I brought up there, I studied there. So it's like wherever I go, I'm like, oh, I used to come and do like this with my father here. Oh, I went to the bank. That's where I triggered me more actually. Because my father born there, brought up there, he was every single person in the street, in the offices, everywhere. So when we go to the bank, with my father, we never stood in the line. As soon as they see my father was a teacher. He was in high school, social studies and English teacher. My mother is an elementary school teacher. So everybody knows as teachers also, right? As soon as they see my father, they say, oh sir, you came, come, what do you want? And then my father gives and tells them what they need, and then we just sit there, and then it goes around all the windows. In India banks doesn't work like US banks. You go out and call the customer service and they'll do everything here. It doesn't work like that. The passbook has to go to each window. Every person has to sign, every person has to give their maha glance on the passbook. Everybody has to do that, feel that spiritual mercy to the passbook, and finally it comes to you. So, and this time I went, I don't know anybody, and they don't know me, because my father passed away, and then the whole staff changed, many people changed, and then I had to stand in the line. I was not feeling bad to stand in the line, but all the time I was standing there, my eyes are not stopping. Automatically I was crying, and then one of our relatives, that boy, he drove me on his bike. Akka, what happened? Akka means sister. He's like, Akka, what happened? Akka, what happened? He is thinking I'm so sensitive, right? He is thinking I'm like a flower. He's like, Akka, your legs are paining? Akka, I will stand in the line. Akka, you sit. I'm like, Baba, not legs. Here it is paining. No, legs, hands are paining. Heart is paining. So even if I sit, heart doesn't feel the soulless. So now what? It's all pain in separation. So did my father could take me with him? Did my father could take all those properties that he built for us? Nothing. He left empty-handed. He came empty-handed, he left empty-handed. So nothing in this material world comes with us. But still, in a day, how much time we give to build those material things in our life? 2 hours of japa. 16 rounds, 2 hours. That's it, we crucify the japa bag until next day. Japa bag is onto the nails. Crucify it, and then we'll see you tomorrow. And then tomorrow when we come, next 2 hours, japa bag is crucified. Right? If japa bag has a mouth to talk, I don't think so we wanted to hear what it will say. Right? So we are giving so much time to the other activities which are not going to come with us. I'm not saying don't do your jobs or don't go to school or anything, but don't hanker for more and more and more and more and more. The more we hanker, the more we want. How much ever we have, we are not happy. If I have 100,000, I will be looking at somebody who is having 300,000. He's like, oh, his house is so beautiful. His car is so beautiful. I wish I have if I have 300,000, I can get like that. So I go and earn more. You know, Radheshyam Prabhu, when he came here, he was telling us one thing, you know. I heard this in a class, but I didn't know that it happened in Pune. But when I heard it from him that he is the one who spoke to that person, I was so happy. So there is this one person, they cultivated him as a student, you know, he is a very good student, he cultivated him, he became Krishna conscious. And then he came to States, Australia or somewhere, but he came overseas. And then he earned nice money, he went back, and then he got married. So his house was very far from Pune temple. So every time Prabhu used to say, you know, you should buy something close, you should move near close temple, or you should join the temple. Before he got married, he said join the ashram like that. But he got married now. So he said, you know, you should try to move closer to the temple. So he's like, yes Prabhu, I'm trying to move closer to the temple. So finally, he moved closer to the temple. But after he got married, because he's from overseas, right? His in-laws, his wife, they said it's very prestigious issue if you buy a 2-bedroom apartment or 3-bedroom apartment. We should have our individual bungalow, individual house. You know, individual house is, in India, if you want to build, is a lot of money. But there is so much pressure on him from in-laws side, so he bought an individual bungalow. Walkable to the Pune temple. Right, very close to Pune temple. When Radheshyam, he came and told Radheshyam Prabhu, that's my house, because he can see from temple, right? And Radheshyam Prabhu was ecstatic, you know, like, oh, wonderful. So you can come for Mangalarti every day morning. You can come for Mangalarti and then you can participate, you can do more services now. And that Prabhu said, Prabhu, sorry, I can't come for Mangalarti or I can't do more services. And Radheshyam Prabhu, you know, like, why? What happened? And he said, Prabhu, that individual bungalow, it costed so much, now I'm going overseas to earn more money. So Radheshyam Prabhu told him, so your house came close, but you went far. So what is the point? You are supposed to be closer to Krishna, not your house. What do I do with your house? Right? So see, that's what I'm trying to say. When we are hankering more and more and more, we are going away from Krishna. We as a soul, we are trying to go away from Krishna. But we are earning more, accumulating more and more and more and more things which are not going to come with us. Right? So that's what Narada Muni is trying to instruct. You know, you are not the body, everything is temporary, you are the soul. And then Narada Muni says, why not take the shelter of the Supreme Lord? Why don't you take the shelter of the Supreme Lord? He is everything. The reality of this world lies in his lotus feet. The same thing Angir Muni says. See, Narada Muni first he tells Chitraketu that give me a second, and then he goes to this corpse, the dead body of the child. And Narada Muni says, oh child, I give you the power to come back to life. Now you get up and you go back to your parents, Chitraketu and Kritadyuti, and then you have rest of the best life of the rest of the life, and then you become the king after your father, and you enjoy the kingdom, and you have a good life. And then he says, I give you the power to come to life. And the soul enters back into the body of the baby. And the baby sits down. And he says, what parents are you talking about? Who are my parents? This Chitraketu and Kritadyuti? They are not my parents. I am the eternal soul. And I have so many parents. I have so many relatives. I have so many people, life after life, birth after birth, birth after birth. I belong to Krishna. I belong to the Supreme Lord. That's where my relationship is. I don't belong to this Chitraketu, I don't belong to this Kritaketi. Please relieve me from this. And the child goes back. And the soul leaves the body. That's when Angir Maharshi tells Maharaj Chitraketu, when I came for the first time, when you were lamenting for a son, I wanted to give this knowledge to you. But your heart is not ready to reciprocate. Right? So that's what happens when we go for book distributions. We try to give some knowledge to the new people that we meet. We try to give knowledge to the people that are interested a little bit. But if their hearts are not reciprocating, if they are not ready to receive that mercy, we cannot help it. And for some people, it may not take this whole thing, but for some people, it needs some kind of experience to take it. Right? Chitraketu Maharaj is you and me in many lifetimes. Many lifetimes it's you and me. We went through this pain, life after life, birth after birth, birth after birth, birth after birth, to take shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And finally, by the mercy of our Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, finally we could be able to take shelter. But are we taking the complete shelter of Krishna? Are we really focusing on the self-realization of our soul? We are more worried about our body. We are more worried about our body attachments. You don't have to tell me, I don't have to tell you. But when you introspect yourself, just see how much time we are giving to something that is eternal in our life, how much time we are giving that is something that is temporary, that we leave today and go. We keep saying everything is temporary, padam padam, yat vipadam, every step is dangerous. But until something happens that we really don't realize that that step is today, that vipadam is that vipat is coming today. Our Sudha Mataji fell last Sunday. Many times everybody walked on the same path. How many devotees were? Do you think the grass went just like that? No. We are Trinadami Sunichana. We just stepped on the grass to test the grass. Humble like a blade of grass. We kick that grass again and again and again. The grass is gone and the walkway formed there. And then that became little wet and the Sudha Mataji fell. And I went to see her, and she was sharing some of her realizations which are very profound. She is saying that I never realized that I will go to a hospital because she don't like to go to hospitals. She went to a hospital when Panitan born, her son, 15 years back, and then she went now. Right? She said, I never realized that leg is so useful. If the leg is not there, I didn't realize that my entire body is useless. Because now they told her you cannot put your foot down for 6 weeks. 6 weeks she cannot even put her foot down. They gave her a walker, and on one foot she is hopping to go to the restroom because other foot she cannot put on the ground. So, how many of us realizes the value of the leg and hands here? I had the hand surgery last year in July. We are so much used to eat, we are so much used to comb our hairs, everything with hand, if you are right-handed, right? After my surgery, I am trying to do this, comb falls off. I try to eat, spoon falls off. Because I could not hold it. I'm like, wow. I have disability of one hand now. I just cannot do this. And my children has to mix rice. And then I became a child. And my both children became parents. And they used to feed me. Because I could not hold and eat. I bring the spoon until here and it falls off. So Narahari and Parikshit, they used to feed me. Because I don't have my hand. When we have something in our lives, we do not realize the importance of it because we are not grateful for what we have. People who cannot see, people who are blind, people who are handicapped, they realize the value of those parts in the body. Krishna gave us everything so perfect. Hands, legs, eyes, everything. Don't ask me why I wore glasses. Everything is perfect because I am old. So, everything is perfect. But how much we are utilizing these parts of the body which are temporary in the service of Krishna which is eternal. So we need to introspect each and every single minute what we are doing in life and why we are doing it. How I am utilizing my every second of my time. How I am utilizing every minute of my time in a day. So anyway, Narada Muni, and they instruct them, they tell them, don't take this. Narada Muni says, take this mantra, I will give you this mantra. If you chant this mantra and follow these principles, you will attain the Supreme Lord in 5 days. He said 5 days. What Prabhupada told us? If you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra attentively, 1 second. 1 second you can perfect your life. But if you chant attentively. See, if you want to plan if you are working on a project in your companies, if you are working on thesis as students, you just hold your japa bag. All the ideas comes that time only. Like all kinds of ideas. If you have some production issues at the work, how to solve it, just hold the japa bag. Chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Every single thing that you want to think in the world, everything will bring that time. Everything Maya will bring. She will say, don't think of Krishna too much. That blue boy, Krishna, don't think about him too much. See, if you don't do this, your boss will fire you. If you don't submit this thesis, you will not get the doctorate. So what are you doing? Keep that japamala on the side. And we say, no, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. She will say, did you remember that problem last time? I'm trying to help you and you're not taking my help. Take my help. And then whole time Hare Krishna. Tongue is saying Hare Krishna. Mind is saying that project, yeah. And then also what happens? There are some things that we cannot tell to people. That we are so angry with that person, but we cannot say it. And then we may chant and we punch them, we kick them, we scold them. Everything we do. And we grind the teeth while chanting Hare Krishna. That person in my life, because our mind is not focused. How we focus? How do we get the mind gets focused? That's why they said try to chant 1 syllable at a time. Hare. That doesn't mean that you chant Hare and sleep. Go to the next syllable. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Each syllable, try to focus on each syllable to get that attention. It's not easy because who is Maya Devi? Maya Devi is not my sister. Maya Devi is not something we imported or exported from some different countries. She is Krishna's energy. She is Krishna's energy. She has so much power that is given by Krishna. Right? One day Lord Shiva dancing crazy, saying Gauranga, 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 like our Govinda Prabhu. Gauranga, Nityananda, Gauranga, Nityananda, right? Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. And Parvati says, why are you gone so crazy? Who is this Gauranga? What happened to you, my dear husband? And he says, oh, you don't know who is Gauranga? Let me tell you. And he says, Gauranga Mahaprabhu is coming in Kali Yuga. With form of Krishna, but bhava of Radharani. He is coming and he is going to deliver all these fallen souls. He is going to break the storehouse of Krishna Prema. And he is going to give it. And he's like, oh, really? And then she goes to a place near Mayapur. It's called Simanta Dweep. If you go to Mayapur, it's Rajapur also now. Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra are there. And then she goes and she did lot of austerity there. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. He comes and says, my dear Parvati, what do you want? What happened? And she asks one question. Prabhu, everybody in this world, your devotees, your associates, everybody, they are trying to preach Krishna consciousness. They are trying to preach your glories. And their aim, their goal of life is to bring those souls closer to you. What kind of service you have given me? Whoever tried to come, I dragged them away. Right? Why is this service to me? What did I do, Krishna? My service is to take people away from you, Prabhu. Why I have to take people away from your lotus feet? And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, my dear Parvati, you are the expansion of my pleasure potency, Srimati Radhika, Radharani. But your service is to purify them before they come. But you are always with me. You are always empowered by me. So she is empowered by Krishna. And then we are trying to fight with her. We are saying, I have to go to Krishna. Move away from me. And she's like, excuse me? And she's trying to put one rope after another, trying to grab us. And then she puts one rope, we don't go, she puts next one. 3 modes of material nature. Passion, ignorance and goodness. She made sure that we don't cross the line of passion. So it takes a lot of practice, so much of association, so much of sadhana to move that goodness. And then we have to go beyond the mode of goodness to actually reach to that level of spirituality. In this world, we both face happiness and distress. Because when we want something, we hanker for it. Right? We hanker so much. Whatever we don't have, that's what we wanted. Right? We have a nice house, we have 1 car, 2 cars, we want 3rd car, we want a bigger house, we want something else, something always we wanted. We hanker for it. So that hankering is there always, I want this. So we lost the focus on Krishna. Nice, right? Because we wanted something. And Krishna gives us to go. Take this. You want a car, huh? Take this. Maya Devi itself says, Krishna, give her a car. And then you got the car. And then you drive like me, you become unconscious, you go and hit the fire hydrant, your car is totaled. So your car is gone. Then what happens? Lamentation. So we are hankering for something, you get it, you are happy, and you lose it, and you lament. Again we hanker for something, lament. Hanker, lament. Happiness, distress. But the river of time, it will just letting us carry away with all these things. But one day, by practicing Krishna consciousness, by chanting attentively, we have to create an end. We have to end this happiness and distress. Both has to end. When those two end, when we are free of that happiness and distress, when we can take and when we can focus on the shelter of lotus feet of Krishna, that's when we could be able to go back to Godhead. So take the association seriously. Take your chanting seriously. Do sadhana properly. Sadhana is very, very important. Daily reading of Srila Prabhupada books, chanting the holy names, and associating with devotees and having prasada. 2 temple management people are looking at me in the class. One in prasadam hall, one in the microphone stand. So I'm going to end the class. If anybody has any questions, I am free during prasadam time, and after kirtan, we will take questions that time. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yes, Vrajabhakti Mataji ki. One second. It's mine.
Hare Krishna.